what are some bad or good takes regarding biblical parallels in this new Superman movie?
It's a pagan movie made by pagans. Now, the character of Superman, in general, he's a Christ allegory, right? So just because you get hits doesn't mean you're losing. The beginning of the movie tells you that for the 3 years he was Superman, the man never lost a fight. It tells you that in the beginning. Jesus was meek. He wasn't weak. People spat on him. People pushed him. Like Peter pulled out a knife and cut the centurion soldier's ear off. And Jesus was like, dude, like, I don't need you to defend me. Like, I can massacre everyone right here if I wanted to. The debate just comes down to, is like, do we focus on the God aspect of Superman or the man aspect of him? And biblically speaking, Jesus was 100% man, 100% God. He wasn't 50-50. He was both.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Between Sundays. I'm joined by my co-host, Taylor Ransom, and today we're talking about Superman, the new James Gunn film that's out. We're asking the question, is it good? Is it funny? Is Superman a messianic figure? Is Superman a Nephilim? Is Superman better than the last Superman? Is DCU as good as MCU? We're going to be hearing from a guest in a moment. But Taylor, first, I'd love to hear your thoughts. We saw it together opening night. Besties.
We did. We saw it. We both saw it. Superman. Yeah. I mean, I overall, it was like super fun. I came out of the theater and I was like, man, I had a good time. I think that, it's a little unfair when people try to categorize it, like they try to compare it to like a Nolan film or something. I don't see comic book movies that way. I see them as like something that like you take your family to, you eat popcorn, you have a good time and you go. Overall, I mean, I think if I was going to point out something negative that I don't love about it, I feel like they kind of made Superman look a little weak. I feel like they nerfed him a little bit. And I feel like I'm watching the film. There's like, I love Mr. Terrific. By the way, Mr. Terrific carried that. With no Mr. Terrific, that movie wouldn't have made any sense. It wouldn't have worked. Mr. Terrific was like, in my opinion, like the actual star of that film. Okay. And I love the dog. I'll point that out too.
No,
I loved the dog.
So far, I'm tracking with you. Dog, Mr. Terrific, favorite characters.
Yeah, the dog. When I went into it, I was like, man,
Lois
what are they doing with the dog?
Least favorite character.
Lois Lane. Well, I mean, I think that they kind of, there's a missed opportunity there too, because I feel like they kind of rushed through some of the Superman stuff. But overall, it was a good time. I can get nitpicky. Oh, let's just get into it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give mine. And giving our guests some stuff to respond to. We have good guests on here. Just out of 10, 1 out of 10. Taylor, and don't qualify the ranking because we'll do that later because you already alluded to it. Like the rank,
Right. I mean, I'll give it a 7.4 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. I would say I would give it a 7.8 out of 10. Me personally.
That just shows John is an optimist. Okay. He's an optimist.
But I've been more optimistic about this the whole time, right? You've been okay. It was better, right? And our text messages would prove this. It was better than you thought it was, worse than I thought it was going to be, right?
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
Maybe that's just a word to the wise. Just have lower expectations about things. Okay. Yeah. Like let's see. Any other thoughts that I had? Overall, I feel like some of it was, I'll say this one thing, that kind of speaks into the mechanization of the DC cinematic universe, which is that, James Gunn said he's not doing that. He said, I'm making one movie at a time. So each movie is going to be a movie. I felt like if that was the case, then like, don't rush so much setup, like don't rush Lois Lane. I thought spoiler alert, the best thing that could have happened in that movie would be that she dumped him after he saves the world. How much more relatable would that be? If she's like, actually, because she said I was going to break up with you anyway. Here's my biggest positive, though, that really set this above. This is the part that this one does better than any other Superman movie. And it did it in the opening moments. It made him vulnerable to combat. Every other Superman is so invincible. It's boring. He's going to win. And unless someone's got a magic fist of kryptonite, it's the same story. But what they showed is that in theory, as a Kryptonian, there's a lot more complexity involving his invincibility. Now, Zack Snyder seeded this, right? I thought that this concept was Snyder-esque, but I think James Gunn did a better job. And to bring us in further into this, joining with us live is our friend Mike Lusso. Tell us where we're right. Tell us where we're wrong, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said a lot of things, a lot of presuppositions. I mean, I'll just say what I.
This is how Mike talks about nerd stuff, dude. He talks about it like it's politics, dude. Okay, go, Mike, go.
I'm about to get trashed.
Whatever. I mean, just basic critiques I've seen from the movie is that I don't know. I just don't think people know what they want, right? It's like people say things like, "Oh, I don't like there's too many characters going on at the same time." Me personally, if you can't keep track of like 12 characters, like you got something going on, you have bigger issues. Like if you can't keep up, like you have bigger issues. Like it's not that big of a deal. If you watch most movies have a pretty decent cast. So to say that, hey, I don't like that, there was other superheroes in the movie, it was distracting. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? It's like, remember when we thought, I think it was in I think it was one Batman movie where they said there was too many characters, but it was just like Joker, Catwoman, and right. It was just like three other like villains.
I'm
right?
trying to think.
Are you talking about the third Dark Knight?
Yeah, the third Dark Knight. Yeah, there's a couple villains in there.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah,
yeah. But, I mean, I thought I still followed it.
Yeah, right. We followed it. I also think, again, I like the movie, but I'm a true comic book nerd. And I think this is what I'm seeing, a divide between people who like the movie and don't like the movie. And I think a lot of people who have trouble enjoying the movie are people who typically enjoy movies like Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. They like movies where it's a lot more realistic, a lot more grounded. I was literally listening to one guy review the movie, and all his complaints were about the movie not being realistic. It's like, oh, well, how did... It's
technically Kryptonians have a blood sugar ratio of 90 milligrams, and when co-opted with the amount of caffeine we saw Clark Kent drinking the night before, and the eggs he made with Lois Lane, there's no way that he could have flown against Ultraman like that.
No, literally, the guy was like, "How is it? Isn't kryptonite? What was that? Isn't kryptonite radioactive? Why did he have to be in the same box as Element Man? He could have avoided him talking him into saving his son." I was like, dude, like, really? That's what you're critiquing? It's like, first of all, Superman has super hearing. He can, like, like, I don't know. I just think that a lot of the complaints are very nitpicky. If you look at old school comic books are fantastical. I don't want you to explain a bunch of stuff to me. It's like, why is there a dog, and how come he's just flying around and hasn't killed a bunch of people? It's like, what do you mean? He's a dog. Like, I don't need to know whether the dog is violent or not. First of all, the dog's a freaking terrier. It's not a pit bull.
Hey, right? Pit bulls are wrongfully accused, okay?
No.
Free pit bull.
Come on, John.
And free pit bulls.
The movie is fantastical, which I think is great. And I actually think James Gunn made it too comic book accurate, too fantastical, too true to comic book lore. And I actually think that's a good thing, because that's what we complained about with other movies. When we watch like Marvel changes so much about their IP. It changes so much about their lore, and all people do is complain about it. And then now that James Gunn is going a certain direction, that's all people are complaining about. So I don't think it's like Star Wars fans. They don't know what they want. They complained that midichlorians exist, and they complained about Jar Jar Binks, and then Disney got rid of them. And Disney and Star Wars has been worse since. It's been worse since those things. So thank you, Star Wars fans. You guys want to blame Disney for ruining Star Wars. You guys ruined it first for demanding a bunch of things.
And Taylor, this was kind of your thought, right, Taylor? This idea that like this isn't Interstellar, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's when I went into it. Yeah. Full disclosure. Like, my perspective was I was kind of expecting, I was trying to put it in the same box as like Man of Steel. Like, I was thinking of it like as movies across the board, but I don't think that that's fair to the genre, not to lower the genre of comic book films, but I just don't think that it's fair to be comparing it with your top 10 IMDb rated, movies. These comic book films, I like that it's way more accurate to the comic books. I wasn't a heavy comic reader, but I did read some comics as a kid. And I love Superman as a character. And so like there's some aspects of what I saw with Superman in this movie where I'm like, yeah, that is a little bit more like less gritty, less than Man of Steel. Like Man of Steel, I didn't really like Man of Steel. There's a lot of things I didn't like about Man of Steel.
I liked Man of Steel.
No, I overall did too, except for
Yeah.
the invincibility factor, in my opinion. It just was too boring.
Well, the previous Superman was stronger than. Remember the clip of the bullet going in his eyeball?
In his eyeball, yeah. That's like 2012, right?
But both Henry Cavill and David Cornsweet's Superman at least flinch to some degree when they get hit by stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's like different Superman have different reactions, but I actually like Man of Steel. But people forget that Man of Steel's approval ratings, its stock went up years later. When Man of Steel first came out, people didn't like it. People think that Man of Steel was this like widely accepted film. It wasn't. Now people are all of a sudden saying Man of Steel was. I remember when Man of Steel came out on stream and stuff like that. People are like, "Wow, this movie was so good. How come I didn't watch it in the theater?" It's like because you're a bona fide hater and you don't like movies. and there's a lot of people who go and watch the movie. I'm a film buff. I see movies like every weekend.
How many times have you already seen Superman?
I saw it 3 times in a row.
Wow.
And I saw when the Batman came out. When the Batman came out, I saw it multiple times that weekend as well.
I did as well. I loved Matt Reeves' Batman. I was all about it.
And because he's actually Batman. He's actually Batman. That's why I love it.
Yeah. We are going to do a separate episode on this because I have heard Mike do the Batman breakdown and Star Wars. I think you guys are pointing out a really important thing about probably the smartest industry move that James Gunn did with this film is a lot of us really the superhero movie era really started with like Tobey, Spider-Man, and Christopher Nolan.
X-Men.
Yeah. You're right. But the craze that started it. Okay, so then X-Men and Spider-Man started the appetite, but it wasn't until Chris Nolan's Batman that I feel like superhero movies really started to become vastly popular. And then when Marvel came in, it really blew it up.
Well, I would say popular in this sense. I think superhero movies really took off of X-Men, but it really took off with genuine comic book fans. And then Christopher Nolan came with the Dark Knight trilogy, and it pulled in people who weren't necessarily comic book fans.
Well, and that's my point.
Now you have nerds and non-nerds now into superhero movies. And then now James Gunn is coming out with his movie, and the non-nerds aren't liking Superman.
Yeah,
I think that's good. I think that's a good thing. I think we need to go back. I think if you're not a nerd and you don't like movies, don't watch the movies. I actually am fine with you not.
Well, I think they're like,
I don't like the movie. That's fine. The movie's not for you, and I'm 10 toes down.
Yeah,
gatekeep the DCU.
Mike's like, get out of the theater.
Well,
get out.
And that's my point. Chris Nolan, who did Inception, who did Interstellar, who did Tenet, made a superhero movie, and I think, respectfully, that's not necessarily what superhero movies are for. And I think what we have seen with the Marvel Cinematic Universe that James Gunn was intimately, is knowledgeable of, is that it cannot bear the weight of the intellectual scrutiny, the entertainment. Like, you have to be Chris Nolan and Michael Bay in the MCU thing. And I think what we have seen post Endgame is that you really can't. Like, it's very hard to do. I think what was done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the whatever phase 3 or phase 2 that was Endgame, that was a probably once in a like they did it. They did pretty good. I don't think that any movie, I don't think you can do that ever again. That complexity of it. And then even then, I think what you would say is that at the end of the day, Endgame was not a Christopher Nolan movie. It's not an Oscar movie. It's a popcorn movie. And so I think that's what James Gunn did to this Superman movie. He's like, it's a superhero movie. It's not that serious. There's no end credits that people are going to be. I think who's mad. You know why they're mad, Mike, is because so many people have made careers out of analyzing Easter eggs, and James Gunn like, no Easter eggs, not really. It's just straightforward.
Yeah, the end credit scenes is nothing. Like, it's not.
They're just like a joke, basically. It's just like for fun.
Yeah, and I've seen people compare it. They're like, because they're equating multiple characters in the movie with it being an Avengers type film. And I'm like, having multiple characters in a film doesn't mean it's Avengers. It means that the characters are already it's not a shared universe. I saw the comment, I'll send it to you. It's not a shared universe, it's an inhabited universe. And if you think about it, most movies already start this way. When you go watch most movies, there's already a universe happening. There's already things happening. And the movie, and this is the whole storytelling. If you study storytelling writing, they'll tell you start your story at the closest you can to the end of the story as possible. There's no reason we should start the movie when Superman's 1 month old coming into Earth's orbit. That makes no sense whatsoever from a storytelling capacity.
Well, we've definitely seen that before.
But yeah, well, nerds have seen that before, and just culture has seen that before. But you have these pseudo intellectuals online. It's like, well, James Gunn doesn't know how to make a movie because he didn't show us his preteen years.
Like, did we want to see that?
Why do I need to see that? Why do I need to see him grow up and struggle with being a superhuman pubescent boy? Like I don't need to. I don't need to see that to connect with Superman on an emotional level. Like I just don't.
It's a little weird too if you're wanting to we I have questions.
All right.
I have some.
Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot as we wrap up our time with you. Our audience will soon find out, and your audience watching this, they know you are also quite the Bible whiz, man. And so, it's going to be church at the movies season coming up for a lot of churches. Pastors are always looking for parallels. We've got the Gen Zs watching this and they need it. Just what are some bad or good takes regarding biblical parallels in this new Superman movie? Any archetypes, any analysis, any Nephilim Easter eggs?
Yeah. So with this movie in particular, I wouldn't necessarily say that there's any. It's a pagan movie made by pagans, right? Now, the character of Superman in general he's a Christ allegory, right? So let's take, for example, the argument that this Superman is weak. He's not weak, he's meek. And people
that'll preach. That's going to be.
I saw him take some damage. Where I was like, no, Superman wouldn't take damage like that.
Just because you get hit doesn't mean you're losing.
Oh,
and this also like
thank you, Jesus.
People are saying, oh, wow, he's losing. The beginning of the movie tells you that for the 3 years he was Superman,
I unplugged my headphones.
The man never lost a fight. It tells you that in the beginning.
He never lost a battle.
Fight in the beginning.
And he never will.
Spoiler alert, his clone, who had the brain of one of the top 3 smartest human beings on the planet in that universe, behind him. So I don't get why that's such a. I'm not going to digress. We're talking about Bible stuff, but Jesus was meek. He wasn't weak. You don't think people spat on him? People pushed him. Like Peter pulled out a knife and cut the centurion soldier's ear off, and Jesus was like, "Dude, like I don't need you to defend me. Like I can massacre everyone right here if I wanted to." And in the lore of Superman, that's how he is. He gets hit. And people don't realize that it's not that he's getting hit, it's that he's letting himself get hit. This man lives in a world of cardboard from his perspective.
Yeah, and I saw some discourse about that with that clip from when the trailer was out, when the movie wasn't out yet. There was in the original trailer, there's that scene where a guy like throws a drink at his head or something. Mm-hmm. And Superman like flinched, and everybody got mad about that. Yeah. And then they changed the trailer to where he didn't flinch.
Yep.
And I'm like, which I thought was a weird thing to get mad about the trailer, because I don't think a drink is going to do any damage to Superman, but it would make sense if I got hit with a drink on the back of the head, I wouldn't get hurt either, but I'd probably be like, what?
I think it's just the debate just comes down to is like, do we focus on the God aspect of Superman or the man aspect of him? And biblically speaking, Jesus was 100% man, 100% God. He wasn't 50-50. He was both. So when people, it's like, did Jesus poop? It's like, the faction of Christians who don't believe Jesus pooped. Have you guys heard about that?
I have not heard about that, but I'm not surprised.
That ain't my Lord and Savior. That ain't my Lord and Savior.
It's heretical to say that Jesus pooped. That's like, it's a whole faction of people, right? So it's like,
hold on.
Superman
at Grok, do some people believe
at Grok? Is this real?
you're that guy on X who's always saying, Grok, what is this?
Yeah. You take a picture of Jesus, you're like, is this real?
Yeah.
What it says.
So Jesus didn't poop.
Jesus didn't poop. Got it. Well,
Oh,
I mean, I thought with, you know, I mean, this movie definitely decided to focus on his human side. And I think that was probably maybe the thing that was probably best about the movie, even though I didn't, maybe it's just a me thing. Maybe this is just not what I was looking for so much. And also it's like, I don't care that there's 20 characters. Like I said, I love Mr. Terrific. I said that at the output that I loved that. And some of it was just like there was a lot of screen time for like the not Green Lantern, where I'm just like,
that's Nathan
he's
Fillion.
Green Lantern.
That's Nathan
He's not a
Fillion,
fake
dude.
Green Lantern. He is Green Lantern.
he is yeah, but I mean he is a Green Lantern, but he's not like the Green Lantern.
But who
that's in the
is?
Justice League.
Well, yeah, but that's the point of Green Lantern a little bit. There is no the Green Lantern.
So Green Lantern are a police force, right? So there's
I
multiple-
know, and I
But
watched.
here-
the
okay, here's
cartoons, by the way.
I'll say another thing that I actually saw someone made a good point. People are expecting Superman to be this type of enforcer character. He's not. Superman is actually a lot closer to a firefighter than a police officer. He's there, like
Okay.
the fact that they showed him saving a squirrel, like he has the situational awareness where he's constantly doing damage control. He's fighting giant kaiju beasts and yet making sure people are safe while he's
Right.
fighting them. So people complain, oh, why? And
I
it's
saw
also-
so many memes about the squirrel, by the way. Everybody was dunking on the squirrel.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I was like, I mean,
there's a squirrel.
I didn't even notice it in the movie. Like in the movie, I didn't even notice the squirrel. And then after the
I
fact,
just
I'm like,
think,
oh,
I don't know. People who are complaining about the Superman, they actually, and some of the reviews I was watching, they actually don't know the character. Like the ethos of Superman, he is my personal best version of Superman that I read in the comics is Superman as a dad. Like when him and Lois are married and they have kids.
oh,
That
I
is
never read
the
that.
best version of Superman. And
Oh.
I'm hoping one day we get that on the big screen, because Superman as a father, I'm like, dang, I want him to be my dad. Like
Who
because
wouldn't? Yeah.
because it shows his ethos of strength, kindness, and
Mhm.
also another thing, we live in a culture, right? Like most people have like 5th grade reading level. There's a difference between kindness and niceness. And I like that
That's
James Gunn actually did not like toe that line. He didn't mix him up with being nice. He's not nice. Like the fact that they're like super,
true. Yeah.
right? It's like
Hashtag.
he gets irked. He's like, like he has emotions. And that's
Yeah, he
the
gets
same
mad
thing
about
where it's like when we think about Christ, do we think about Christ as this stoic figure who never feels or like gets irritated or mad? Or do we think of like, hey, when I commit sin, or if I do something that grieves the Holy Spirit, is Christ making like a face, or is he just stoic the entire time?
Yep.
Like how do you perceive Christ? How do you perceive God and the Holy Spirit? And the scripture literally says that we can grieve the Holy Spirit. What does that look like to you? So when people think like, oh, Superman, he should just be the stoic figure who says 5 lines throughout the movie and and is
Yeah.
just constant strength. Just he just flicks the kaiju flies out to space. He just blows Lex Luthor, his head explodes. Like he's just like,
Well,
what do you want
I think some
Superman
of
to
these
do?
people that are like that, they want Homelander is what they actually want.
Basically.
And you're like,
Ooh,
hey, so
deep
that's
cut.
not those are not the same guy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
You
want
know?
Homelander. They want, who's the other guy? They want the guy
Ultraman.
from the guy from Invincible.
Oh,
His dad. What was his dad?
what is his
Omni-Man.
name?
Omni-Man. Yeah, they want
Omni-Man.
Omni-Man. Yeah, and the thing is that, and James Gunn even kind of talked about this. If you talk about like the no kill stuff, it's like Superman doesn't exactly have the no kill rule.
True.
Because think about it as Christians, we don't have no kill rules, but we do understand when someone should die. Like,
It's
you know what I
very
mean? Like,
specific. It's very,
yeah, we
very,
know
very
someone
specific.
like you should probably not be here.
Yeah.
Batman has a no kill rule because of he's a traumatized person.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. It's just there's so many things you can just pull from who Superman is,
Mm-hmm.
and it all comes from certain biblical principles. I mean, the name Kal-El is voice of God in Hebrew.
Dang.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Krypton is
Every pastor
actually
in the
Hebrew.
country's like, write that down. Write that
Write
down.
that
Write
down.
that down.
The
write that
title of
down.
my message today is Cal. L. You know,
Write that down.
around my mansion, they call me Cal L. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my wife does.
I just think it's interesting. It's like Superman isn't meant. He's not this brute. He's not Doomsday. Which in a lot of ways, the people he are in opposition to him are like reflections of who he is. Lex Luthor is like the worst. He embodies the worst of humanity. Like that's his whole persona. He's a bona fide hater through and through.
I was going to say, in that movie, I mean, that whole movie was nothing but him hating on Superman from start to finish.
Some people will say, he's like, oh, he was so smart. How come he did some pretty stupid stuff? It's like, because his envy blinded him.
And he explained that at the end of the movie.
He was like, I'm not dim. I know I'm envious. So it's like, so it shows just how people like can be like very self-aware of like things that are wrong with them, but they still pursue sin. They still pursue to do things that they know is not right. He's like comparing himself to Galileo and Nikola Tesla and understands that he can do so much good, but he wants to spend his entire life hating on Superman because Superman's God, which is the typical militant atheist, right? Just, I don't believe in him, but I hate him, and I'll make sure everyone knows I hate him.
You sure hate him a lot, considering you don't believe he exists.
Lex Luthor is the militant atheist.
Wow. Well, no, I love that perspective.
Mike,
that's great.
Thank you so much for being on, my guy. We'll definitely
thank you, Mike.
Have you back on in these segments. We'll link to all Mike's stuff in the comments here. But Mike, thanks for being with us, breaking down Superman, just Superman, right? That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, Superman.
Awesome,
Superman.
Brother.
Love you,
We'll
Mike.
catch you later. See you, Bo.
See, I have this dueling thing in my head. Half of me wants to critique it as a film because as a film, it wasn't very good. And then half of me wants to critique it as a comic book guy. I can understand why the comic book guys, they're all about it because that's the Superman that they've seen. Like they know, they're like, yeah, they're like, this is on point. But as a film guy, you're like, this movie was not like a great movie as a movie.
No,
it was entertaining.
And I think the interesting thing about art is like, well, it's like defining terms that define terms that are all just terms we all made up. So like, what does it mean? Like, clearly Mike is a comic guy, so he's arguing from the comic point of view, but like Dark Knight, and again, if he would have gone on the Dark Knight thing, he hates those Batman movies. So from the beginning, he doesn't like the Christopher Nolan point of view. I don't mind, I don't mind it. Like, I like the Snyder cut. Like, the Snyder cut's like 4 hours. I think it's great. I think Snyder cuts show that if something is good, it can go for a long time, the
Snyder cut, I kind of got bored. Maybe that's just me, but I started watching the Snyder cut Justice League thing, and I was kind of like, there's just so much going on.
Yeah, I think art is subjective. I think if anyone says this is a terrible movie, I think they're just wrong.
You're just a hater. You're just rage baiting at that point.
But then at the same time, and this might make me sound like a hypocrite, if somebody says that it's their favorite movie ever, I don't mind. Like, sure. It was a good enough movie that if you're like, dude, I freaking love this movie, I'm like, cool. But it's a good enough movie that if you're like, this is trash, I'm like, you're just a hater. You're an idiot. And I think the thing with saving the squirrel, obviously it made me roll my eyes. It's kind of annoying. But
it's just kind of like, it's just sort of like he just kind of came off just kind of weak, I guess.
But here's my thought about it. If someone was a nuclear weapon,
right,
the only way that they don't destroy the world is if they have a Gandhi-like almost passivity. So I think that like logically that explains the character a bit, because if, like, for instance, if the Green Lantern guy with his like kind of gray morality was Superman, I think he'd conquer the world. I think that Snyder's Superman showed a physically perfect, morally conflicted like Superman, whereas like he's not going to lose a battle, but he's fighting all these internal demons. I think this one showed a little bit more of like a pretty fallible from a combat standpoint Superman. but also, but morally pure. And so I feel like this Superman's weakness is going to be his moral compass.
Yeah, he's a Boy Scout.
You know,
And that's kind of like the best and worst thing about him.
yeah.
Like that's going to hurt him in the future, in future fights. He's going to get in moral dilemmas all the time.
Yeah.
But
So-
that's also the best thing about him.
yeah.
He's not an anti-hero. I'm tired of anti-heroes where the morality of both sides, the villain and the good guy, is just gray.
This is good. This is good. Well, hey, if you like this episode, make sure to like the video. Leave us a comment on what you want us to talk more about. Give us your thoughts on Superman. And, of course, subscribe to our channel, this channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.